What's up, squad? Hey, if you guys are listening and you love sports, I know we try not to talk about it too much on here, but I now have a sports podcast with former guests Dalen Mendoza and Colin O'Meara. The Third and Inches podcast is now live with Big Laugh Network. You can find it on YouTube at Third and Inches. You can find it on Spotify under Third and Inches, and then you will also be able to find it on all platforms within the coming weeks. Please go like, rate, and subscribe. And now, enjoy Your Last Resort with guest Christian Copelan. See ya.
This is a Your Last Resorts production.
And welcome back to the Your Last Resort podcast with your host, Brandon Lejean. This week it's episode 124, and I'm joined by my very special guest, Christian Copelan. Thank you for doing the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, dude. Pop in your podcast cherry, You said, right?
First one ever.
Dude, what if you're just fucking terrible on this and no one ever sees it?
Very well
it's so
could be.
bad that we
Dude,
don't even release it.
I've never even been like around. I've never seen like watched like been in a podcast studio or anything. I've always like wanted like people make really good like sets, and then you're like, well, what's behind the camera? And
Yeah.
I've heard it's just like you would never guess where a studio is. Or
Yeah,
anything
this
like
one's
that.
pretty ghetto fab. You know,
dude,
that's
it's
what,
great.
No,
It's great.
It's
People don't even know that we're on like the 25th floor, like in a penthouse in the middle of downtown
they think
Austin.
we're
They
in
don't even know.
They think we're in some like shitty 3-bedroom apartment that I
That's-
rent out, and they're
that's
like,
crazy,
It's not
dude.
where we're at at all.
I wanted to do one. I launched like 2 years ago. I wanted to start a podcast with my buddy back home.
Yeah.
And it was just like our idea for a podcast was too much to be like a starter podcast. Like if you're
Yeah.
just sitting talking with someone, you just need one camera, whatever, you know, a mic. But like we wanted to have a podcast called Same Cup, and it was like we're on a team, and then we bring in two other people, and we play beer pong.
Oh, that's
and
great.
it's kind of like an interview while you're playing beer pong and just like stuff like that. And but you would need like several cameras, like a shot on
Yeah,
one
you
team,
need a
a shot on
wide-
another
yeah, you need
team,
a
like
guy
like an
filming.
aerial one going in for like the top of the, you know, when the ball goes in and all types of stuff like that.
That's
So
actually a great idea. Like that's
my buddy
totally-
made like a shirt, a logo, everything. It's like says Same Cup Pod on it. It's really cool. Like it's got like the triangle of like what the cups look like, and
Yeah.
the lettering times out, or not times out, but it goes perfectly with Same Cup Pod.
Oh, that's
it's like
really
just
great.
enough cups and everything. So we had such a cool logo idea and everything, just didn't have the ability to start it. And then like maybe 6 months later, we got on YouTube, and Post Malone has this like mass produced beer pong game that he does
yeah.
where he invites celebrities to come play beer pong on it. It's not like technically a podcast, but I was like, there's no way we could get away with what we're gonna do now. Like,
Yeah,
now
it's-
people think it's his idea.
Yeah, you think you're stealing it. It's kind of that weird. There is kind of that like weird. We're in almost a weird time where everything has almost been done. Like
Yeah,
original ideas are so hard. I
sure.
mean, fuck, look at Hollywood. It's the same
Dude, and
rebooted
especially
movie.
like us being in comedy. I mean,
Yeah.
every joke you write, you have to be like, has anybody said any variation of this ever? Like,
Yeah, it's so hard to have an original like premise that it's like, of course, obviously you don't want to steal someone's material, but you're like, yeah, someone else has written a joke on XYZ. It's very
Yeah.
different, but it's like there's no almost every original thought is gone at this point.
We take the like you said, the premise like is, you can't think of an original premise anymore. Just your perspective on it can be unique.
Exactly,
'Cause,
exactly,
like,
yeah.
I mean, dude, if you think about comedians in like the 60s or the 50s, like everything was up for grabs. They didn't have to worry about taking anybody's material. Everything they experienced, they were like, I can make this a joke.
Yeah,
Like,
this is the first time anyone said this, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's, yeah,
crazy.
you even run into that because it's like, and literally, unless it's like a brand new, like it's a joke about a current event, it doesn't
That's
really
like the only
thing that
exactly.
works because it's like,
And that, I don't know, that could be like why we're in such a climate where people love like political humor and things like that, because originality is so hard to get to that may be the only. I never
that's
thought
an
about
interesting,
that.
that's an interesting way to look
Like
at
they're
it.
like, yo, this is the only way I know I could be original is
Yeah.
just like write about something that's happening only right now, and that's it. You know?
I feel like the problem is too often when I try to do like too topical, I feel like I'm just writing for the fucking like the
I don't
what's
even
an
touch it.
SNL news thing,
yeah, I don't
morning
even touch
update.
that. It's
yeah.
like That's why I don't even like I don't have or want social media because I'll just write about whatever I'm intaking. Like whatever I see is what I write about in my life. And if I'm just like on Twitter and I'm just like seeing like news and politics and whatever, that's what I'll write about. And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be that comedian.
Twitter's
So,
hilarious, bro. Twitter is one of the funniest places I've gone to.
It's
But if you
hilarious.
took like,
used
dude,
to.
there are tweets that make me like piss my pants laughing by myself. But if you took those 10 tweets and
said
read
'em.
them on stage, they would all
never
bomb.
work. It
They
would
would
never
all
work. Nothing's
bomb.
funnier than a meme. Meme was the funniest thing that'll ever happen.
Oh,
in the
exactly. But you
history
can't
of-
replicate. Like, it's like how people are like, oh, you know, you might not enjoy like Netflix specials because you can't emulate the live crowd. You can't emulate a meme to a live crowd. It's vice versa. But it is funny, dude. Like, I guess, you know, we go to so many open mics, and I don't really care if someone's doing a hacky premise. I don't care if someone's doing a bit that I feel like is like another famous comedian's bit or their style so much like it, because they're never going to be able to use that. I want to fist fight people when I'm like, your joke is a tweet I saw a
tweet.
week ago.
Yeah.
You're a fraud. You're a liar. Or I'm like, bro, that was a fucking iFunny meme 6 years ago. What are you doing writing this bit?
I remember at the beginning of like when the pandemic happened, and I didn't have any social media or anything like that. And
Yeah.
one of the things I was just like kind of opening up with, and whenever I was in Houston, and it's not a great joke. This was 2.5 years ago. Okay, I'm not
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this comedian.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
needs to know that. But I would just open just to get the audience's attention. I would be like, you guys know what goes best with coronavirus? Lyme disease. And then like I did it for like a month or two or whatever, and then this
Yeah.
one comedian just came up to me afterwards. He's like, dude, if you say that joke one more time, I'm gonna fight you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, that joke's all over Facebook, it's all over Twitter, it's all over
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, oh, I just thought of it one night before I went to bed. Like, and I was like, this is such an easy joke. Let me try it. If it goes well and nobody says that it's unoriginal, I'll keep saying it. And
Yeah.
then he came and told me, he was like, yeah, dude, it's like a street joke. Like,
Yeah,
never would have-
exactly.
And so I had no idea because I'm so detached from it, you know?
Yeah, I saw there was a couple weeks ago where I won't say his name. I'll tell you after who it is. But there was a comedian that was like doing not like it's one thing to do another comedian's bit, but he was doing another comedian's viral tweet.
Oh, really?
And it was like all a viral tweet that we had seen and everyone knew. And I was like, what's happening? Like, why are you doing this? And I actually said, like, I don't like telling people when I try not to tell people what to do, because it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like if you're like, hey man, I really think that you're emulating this comedian, most people are gonna be like, no, I'm not. And that's like the end of it. Or like, hey bro, I think that bit's a lot similar to this bit. No, it's not. And so it's like, if it's not like my diehard homie, I'm not gonna take the time to like lecture people on what's okay or like what I think you're stealing and not. So I don't say anything. But he came up to me and was like, do you like that bit? And I go, yeah, dog, that you stole that.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I didn't. And he's like, I tweeted, and I go, look at your timestamp. Go look at the other comedian's timestamp. Like 2 minutes later, he's like, fuck, I didn't even realize. I'm like, dude,
I've had things like that where I've written
you know.
something and you find out later like a bigger comedian has written something similar to that. The worst though, and it's like kind of a cocky thing to say though, is when you feel like you've written the better version of the bit. Like I had one in particular that I felt like it was one of like my very early on, like maybe my first three, like that I was like, this is a good joke. Like this is like something I can really rely on. It's a great bit. It's a great joke. And said it for like first 2 years of comedy, and then got on Instagram one day, and he's one of my favorite comics, and he posted a clip of it. And mine's like, it's like 20 seconds is all it's whatever. And his is like 2.5 minutes of it to get to the same punchline that I got to. And I was like, dude, mine's the better joke. Like I took out all the fat. I did like there's no build. Like it's just the joke. But had to retire it because he's a famous comedian. So I was like, I happen to have a clip of it. And so I was like, well, I'll just post this on Instagram since I can't put it in my act anymore and get the best out of it that I can, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. I guess I've had that where it's like similar premises, and I always am just like whatever. Like the professional comedian is probably better. Like I had like what I thought was such a good idea for a joke, and then I wrote a bit about it. And then it was crazy because I'd never even heard the bit, but it was already a Dane Cook bit from like 9 years ago.
Jeez.
And I was like, oh, like I was trying to write a bit that I was watching a war movie, and I was like, who the fuck signed up and had to be the drummer and
the
like the
drummer
flag waver? And he already
I've heard
has like
that
a
Dane
whole
bit.
bit. Yeah.
I've
And I
heard the
never
bit
heard it, and I
about
wrote
it.
the bit, and I was like bouncing it off my buddy, and he goes, are you trying to do the Dane Cook bit?
Yeah,
And I go,
that
I don't
bit's-
know which bit you're
that bit's
talking about.
hilarious,
It's
too.
I watched it
Because it's Dane, and he acts it out and
Yeah.
everything. It's so funny.
when I watched it, I
man.
was like, I'm not gonna like, because you're like, you could still be like, no, I can do something different, and I was just like, oh, like this is the best that anyone can do with this
Dane's
premise.
the-
I'm good.
Dane's the first comedian that I remember seeing a
Yeah.
full special of. I grew up. My grandma lived right next door to me.
Yeah.
And on nights that I just felt like staying up late and being mischievous, I'd just be like, "Can I stay at Granny Papa's?" And I
Yeah.
would go over there, and we didn't have cable at our house, but they had cable, so I could watch Comedy Central.
Oh, shit,
And I
yeah.
would just love watching the little half-hour specials or whatever. And Dane Cook, I remember it being the first one that I watched and went to school the next day in 5th grade and like pawned it off like it was my bit.
Yeah.
Like because in
How old are you, real quick?
24.
Okay, we're the same. I'm
25
25
next
so,
month.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
turned, so we're the same. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I remember going to school the next day and doing like his bit about, because he talks about like being Catholic, like being in church or whatever, and he talks about communion and how he wanted to eat it as cereal and stuff
Yeah.
like that, whatever. And I had a couple buddies that sat at my lunch table that I went to church with, so I was like, I know they'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll relate to it, you know, thinking that early on about like relating to my audience, and just pawned off the whole bit as my own.
Dude, that's funny because it makes sense because we're the same age. For me, I don't know what the first special I saw was, but the first instance of stand-up I can remember in my life is early YouTube watching animated versions of Dane Cook bits.
Oh,
and
okay.
with the same thing, I would quote him at school. One of them was, you remember he has the bit about the Kool-Aid man bird? He's like, cool. Oh no. Oh yeah. You mean, oh no, my dad's good. Like
Yeah.
that bit, dude. The pickles bit at Burger King, like and the
Pickles.
pickles.
Yeah.
Dude, I would quote those
So
to friends
funny,
like
dude.
they were my fucking
That
bits.
stuff is so funny. Man. Like my first like intro, like if I think about my earliest memory of stand up, it's like the Blue Collar tour, which is
Who was that?
Seeing you're in California,
Yeah.
so you have no idea.
No.
It's Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable
Oh,
Guy,
shit.
Ron White, and Bill Engvall.
Damn.
They all went on a tour together, and then one final version of the one night they would film or whatever, and that would get cut, and it was just called the Blue Collar World Tour, and they would each do like 25 minutes or make it an hour or whatever, 2 hours, whichever it was. And at the end, they would all four come out, sit on stools, and just like tell their favorite jokes.
That's pretty dope.
Like their favorite, whether it's like a street joke or a joke they made or heard at a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so funny, but I specifically remember watching it being in the living room at our grandma's house. All my family's over there. We're watching Jeff Foxworthy, and he says some joke that says pussy in it. And
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't even know what the joke was, but I remember laughing because everybody was laughing and me being like, haha, because pussy, right? And saying it out loud to my family, and they're like, no, like, don't say that word. And I'm like, but like pussycat, right? And they're like, you can't say that. That's like my
That's
very
so
first
good.
memory of stand-up ever in general.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's like weird for me because it's like, obviously I saw the Dane Cook stuff, but when I was like 10 or 11, because I grew up 5 minutes from the Brea Improv. I lived in Brea, right by the
That's
Brea.
like being from like a small town, like stand-up just like wasn't a thing. Like it's
Yeah.
like, it exists. Well, I don't even know if you know, unless you're into it, you don't even know. Like I remember whenever I decided I wanted to do stand-up and telling people, they're like, oh, that's cool, but like what's stand-up? Like,
Yeah.
and like that's got to be crazy for you to think that there's people in America that don't know what stand-up comedy is. And like you'll try to tell them like, because you could just try to name some people, but they don't know unless they're the biggest people in the world.
Yeah.
And so you'll be like, well, Kevin Hart's a stand-up, and they'll be like, oh, so like Ride Along, like they'll name his movies, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like what he did before that, like
Yeah.
they don't know that like what stand-up is, but you being right there, like you're probably around it all the time.
Yeah, people in California seem to get it more, but they don't understand. They don't understand like the levels of it. So like, I'll go home and I'll go to a family dinner at Erica's place, and they're like, "So you're gonna be on Rogan soon?"
that's like
I'm like, "Bro, I got paid in chicken wings the other
My
day."
grandma, every time I go home, she'll ask me like how it's going.
Yeah.
And just like she just doesn't understand the world at all.
No,
So
yeah.
she just asks me the same questions all the time, and I'll tell her about like comedy, and she'll try to tell me like who her favorite stand-up comedians
Yeah.
are. And she'll like she says like Lucy from the I Love Lucy show.
Yeah.
And I was like, she didn't do stand up.
No.
She may have. I don't want someone checking me for. But that was like
I
the
don't
40s.
think Lucille
so
Ball did.
That's her. Yeah, her
I don't
full
think
name.
women were allowed to speak in public domains like that. Like,
So she'll say her and like other comedic actors from that time, but she doesn't understand the premise of standing on a stage with a microphone telling jokes.
Yeah.
She just doesn't get it, you know. And maybe one day when she finally sees me, she will. But so far, I've not let anybody in my family see any of my stand up.
bro,
Well, some of my
almost-
family's found me on Kill Tony, but that's about it. Yeah.
almost all my family see me do fucking stand up now because
wish.
I run those like shop shows back in my hometown. So there was like one or two ago where I think I had my parents, my sisters, my grandparents, my aunt and uncle, and my cousins like all came out to see, and it was like it's cool because like they're supportive, and it's like. It's weird because it's like I'm at a point now where I'm confident enough in my stand-up where I was like, yeah, come out and see. Like I'm like,
And that was the thing too. Early on was when they always wanted to see me.
yeah,
'cause
they're like,
was
can I
in
come to your
Houston,
3-minute
and it was-
open mic
It was
spot?
closer, but it was still like an hour and a half to 2 hour drive just
Yeah.
to be there, and then come home on like a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And they would like want to come to a mic or whatever. It's like to go see me do 3 minutes, bomb, and then
Yeah.
have to turn around and drive 2 hours home. Like it's like it's not worth it at all. And now,
Yeah.
luckily enough, I'm far enough away that they can't even offer to go to the shows.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it until I have something that's good enough to be on tape somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to worry about it because it's good and it's polished. You know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, but like now I'm just confident where I'm like, like maybe they won't love my material, but I'm like, I like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I have like universally funny material. I've done it
Yeah.
enough places where I'm like, this is funny. So like if they're not laughing, they're I suppose in the
My
minority.
family's just very much like I'll say a joke and they're like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's the type of people like that's what I don't like. They will just see me go up there and just call bullshit the whole time, and like they're not the type of people in a crowd that will just like see what's happening and be like, oh, we're all on the same page here. We're laughing because it's funny, not because it happened. They're
Yeah.
just gonna be sitting there like thinking like that didn't happen. That he's lying right now. Like especially if I say something about my family or my hometown or whatever
Yeah.
stuff that's like not true that I've like stretched the truth or whatever it may be. They're just gonna call bullshit on me.
Yeah, real quick, can you spin the mic around? There you go.
There it
was
is.
just gonna pick up. Then it just levels. I'm sure you were on it and stuff over there, Erica. But I noticed it. All right, dude. Real quick, I want to fucking move into. I have a bunch of like random topics written
Okay.
down. What's your 3 favorite movies, dude? This is probably my new favorite question I ask people
Yeah.
on here because I think it tells you a lot about a person. You know.
Yeah.
So what are your 3 favorites?
Well, okay, so first of all, for movies, for me, I'd never watch new ones. If I
Okay.
happen to watch a movie and I like it, cool, I will now watch that movie 18 times.
When you say new-
I love watching, like, I won't be like, yo, a new movie's coming out, make an effort to go watch
You're
it.
talking like in theaters, not like I've never
Yeah.
seen Rambo. That's a new movie
Yeah,
to me. You mean
yeah.
like you're not gonna go see like the new Ghostbusters
Yeah, it's like,
and shit like
yeah,
that.
like the other day, someone like we were at a mic and Mike Eaton, weirdly
Yeah.
enough, was like, "Hey, dude, what's the theme to Dune?" And I was like, "I haven't seen Dune.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen like new stuff that comes. I'm such a nostalgia guy that I just watch the same stuff over and over again. But
Yeah.
that being said, my favorite movie first is Good Will Hunting.
Okay,
love
I
that
actually haven't
movie.
seen that movie.
I love it.
But it's like so iconic that I like know the
There's so
movie
many
from all the
layers to
spoofs
it,
of
bro. The fact like it was like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote it as a play for their.
I really need to see. It's like this
they were
is
in
such
college,
an
bro.
unacceptable
They
movie
were,
for me
they
not
were
to have
in
seen.
college and they wrote it as a play and then ended up like writing, directing, and starring in it when they were like 23.
That's
like it was like
badass,
crazy.
yeah.
And then Robin Williams is in it, who's an all-time great. That's like
Yeah,
the one
he's-
guy I can say to my family. They're like, "So what is it that you?" And I'm like, "I kind of want to be like a Robin Williams." And they're like, "Oh, we know who he is."
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
do as much of like the acting stuff, just the comedy. But like my dad knows Robin Williams comedy, and my comedy's nothing like Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
yeah.
He knows that he's a stand-up comedian. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, Robin Williams, he plays a dramatic role in it, which I think he starred in dramatic roles. Like
He played a lot of great dramatic
That's what I'm saying.
roles.
He's known for comedy because I mean he's fucking
You know what
hilarious.
his best role is
but-
though? Night at the Museum, baby.
I realized I'd never seen the third one, and I'm the type of guy that's not just gonna
Not
watch
that great
a
of a
third.
movie.
Well, I was like, I'm not just gonna watch a third. I never will just watch one movie out of a sequel. I'm like, I'm gonna start from the beginning. So it's like if I'm in the
Yeah.
mood to watch Fast and Furious 5, I'm gonna watch the first one to the fifth one. Like
Yeah, I
like,
get you.
So I was on vacation like a month or two ago and was like, I've never seen the third Night at the Museum. It popped up on Disney Plus, and then I watched all three of them like while I was on vacation.
First one's a classic. Second one's
First one
fun.
really is a classic,
Third one
dude.
didn't need to be made.
Yeah, it
but
did
it's
not at
cool.
all.
I mean, like,
I would say the second one didn't even need to
what's
be made.
is the third one? Yeah, I guess you're right. They could have just chilled with one. But the third one is with Achman Ra, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, and they're at like a new museum
It's
and
just too
shit,
much,
and you're
dude.
like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is? It got too crazy. But I don't think you need. There's really not a lot of third movies that are that great. They're ironically in my top 3. One of them is Star Wars Episode 3, which
I'm
I
about to
suppose
say,
is the
for my
third.
second movie is a third in a sequel. But
Yeah.
it's like,
but
we're
it's like
just
most of the time they're
hypocrites.
pretty dog shit. That's
Yeah,
funny. We both
there we
have
are.
third movies, and
Fuck third
yeah, fuck
movies.
those third movies.
Anyways.
By the way,
Prisoner of Azkaban.
yeah, that's my. All right, I'm a fucking cocksucker because Star Wars Episode 3 is in my
Never
top
seen any
3.
Star Wars ever.
yeah,
We'll talk about it.
yeah.
We'll talk about it for
And
sure, 'cause
then-
I have a whole theory behind it.
And then Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter.
That
I
one
watched
and Half-Blood Prince are my favorite. both
I
of
watched
them.
Rocky 3 last night. Amazing fucking movie.
Prisoner of Azkaban's 2 movies. You
Yeah.
have before they go back in
That
time,
book is
and
so
then and then
good,
once
dude.
they go back in time, it's 2 separate movies, and
The
it's
book's
so
so
cool.
good.
But yeah, so Good Will Hunting's just great story, everything on how it was made. Robin
Mm-hmm.
Williams, I mean, all the acting jobs in it are so good. There's so many different, like it's like the #1 go-to movie for like duet scenes. Like
Yeah.
if it's just you and another person or whatever, like it's just I love the scenes in that movie. The movie as a whole is really good, but I like just like each individual scene. So
Okay.
that's my favorite movie. And then second is I think it's probably Captain America: Civil War.
Okay,
That's
a
my
great
favorite
movie.
MCU movie, period.
That movie is
and
really
the
fucking
MCU
good.
means too much to me to not be in my top 3.
I get that.
So I'll just pick my favorite MCU movie.
That's me with
to be
Star
in there.
Wars.
Yeah, I grew up on comics. For like 13 years of my life, I wanted to be a comic book artist.
Yeah.
So I can draw like crazy good.
Yeah.
I just grew up every day, would go home and just draw superheroes, and then it hit me in maybe like 8th grade, maybe early freshman year. I was like, I actually don't want to draw every day for the rest of my life, and just
Yeah.
stopped. And now I never ever draw again unless like my tattoos are all my own drawings. So
Oh, that's dope.
I'll draw that when I want to get a new tattoo.
Okay.
But that's it. But yeah, Captain America: Civil War. It's really good. It's basically an Avengers movie.
Which
all the
team
Avengers
were you
are
back
in
in
it.
the day? Were you Team
Cap.
Cap? I was Team Iron Man,
As
baby.
Cap, because it had, I mean, Cap in it. He's really cool, but I'll get flamed for this. Hawkeye's my favorite Avenger.
I was
so-
gonna say that is pretty gay, dude. That's
Yeah,
one of the gay.
it
Like you
is.
could have been like, my favorite Avenger's a big fat dick, and that would have been less gay than
Well,
saying
it's
Hawkeye.
just because he's like there's like gods and big old beasts and actual super soldiers, and he's just like hanging in with the best of them.
Who's
you know what I'm
your
saying?
top
Like,
3 Marvel people then? Like, because I'll tell
They'll
you
all
mine.
be X-Men because I X-Men's what I love, but they haven't been introduced. to
Hawkeye's
MCU
an
yet,
X-Men?
so- no.
Okay,
He's
so-
just my favorite Avenger.
Okay.
From the
So
movies.
from the
technically,
MCU
technically Wolverine's an Avenger.
True,
okay?
true.
So-
But from movies, that's probably a better way for like
Just
me
any
and most
superhero
laymen. Yeah, I
movie?
guess, and exclude DC. Let's do Marvel,
Yeah, I
and if
don't
you
like
want to
DC.
throw in like X-Men Days Past people, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Marvel, just like in general, like my favorite superhero growing up was Iceman.
Okay, mine's
X-Men.
Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I love.
I never
Doctor
got into
Strange.
him until the movie came out.
See, well, and that's the thing. I didn't get into
Because
any of these until the
I
movies.
don't. The part of Marvel and like fantasy films and all this
Yeah.
stuff is like, if it's too not real,
Mm-hmm.
you lost me. That's why I don't do Star Wars and Star Wars,
That was
Star
funny that you called it
Wars
Star
and
Wars,
Lord of the
though.
Rings and like. It's like I know it's not realistic, but to me the premise of like X-Men, like these are
It's
real
somewhat
real
grounded in
people.
reality.
They just have a mutant gene that gives them powers. They all go to a school. They're kids. They learn how to use their powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, somewhat grounded in reality. That's why I don't love the direction Marvel's going. I don't think it's their fault. It's the only direction they have to go. But like this whole like multiverse and like expanding to space and different dimensions, whatever, it's too much for me. Like it's too. So I didn't ever get into Doctor Strange because I knew that's what it was. It was magic and multiverse and stuff, and like it wasn't grounded enough in reality for me. So I
My
love
favorite thing about
X-Men.
Doctor Strange is that he's also a little bit of a cunt. Like that's
He's very.
that's
yeah.
a big reason
He
why I
very
like
is.
him.
And that's
is-
what a lot of people started to like him when the movie came out because
Mm-hmm.
they got to know his personality. Same thing happened with Deadpool and Iron Man.
Yeah.
All those like very satirical comic book heroes, people started to like because their personalities are super likable.
Yeah, because probably my second favorite like superhero then in that and like the movie thing it would be Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
what about you? Number 2.
Probably Gambit.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I just found out.
He's cool. He's a little bit satirical, but he's Remy LeBeau. He's from New Orleans.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, holds homes.
Yeah, it's like
stuff.
that's where my whole family's from Louisiana. He talks like my grandpa, like the this and the that, and everything's got that French thing on it.
Didn't they have some white ass dude play Gambit though at one point?
Yeah, Taylor Kutch or Kirsch.
Yeah, the guy from Lone Survivor,
he's
right?
No. He's in a newer movie. Oh, he's in the new thing with Chris Pratt, The Terminal List. If people have seen that, he plays Chris Pratt's best friend in Terminal List. But he played Gambit, and he didn't do a bad job. He just they didn't do the whole Cajun thing, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked him growing up, because he talks like everybody in my family. You know?
That makes sense.
They talk like they're a little bit cooler than anybody is, you know. So I
like a
that.
crawdad, man.
Yeah, bro. And so he was my second favorite.
Okay. Well, that's
the comment. I've drawn.
Yeah, I mean, I know who.
I've drawn that exact picture before.
Until last episode of this podcast, and so since I was a child till now, I thought the phrase was called "running the gambit."
Oh, really?
Like after the superhero, because he does tricks.
Gambit. He's named after what a gambit really is.
Yeah, I thought that was the saying, but apparently it's "run the gambit." I just found that out.
Yeah. He's just like cool, dude. Like his power is that he can charge objects with potential energy.
Yeah.
And then when they hit something, they explode on impact.
And he always uses
his weapon of choice is just cards.
That's
and
cool.
It's so cool, you know.
I like that. What about who's your number 3 hero?
3, dude. That one's hard because I kind of want to branch out of X-Men for that one, but it's like you have your classics that are you're just all-time greats, but maybe they don't have a personal connection to you, like Wolverine. Like Wolverine's just the best. He's what you think of when you think of X-Men. You know? But I don't know if I'd have him in my top 3.
Well, it's weird too because yours have such more of a comic book roots base, but mine all just have to do with movies. Like when you say,
so if they haven't made an adaptation of it, you may not even know who they are.
Exactly,
you know?
and it's like when I'm like Doctor Strange is my favorite, I picture Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, same. Benedict Cumberbatch is your favorite.
Iron Man, because my third is going to be Venom, which is just I guess me liking probably Tom Hardy a lot too, which is Tom
Hardy did such a good job with Venom.
Yeah.
The movies are terrible.
The second movie was really bad.
He did as good as you could do with Venom. It's a great thing. Like one of my favorite moments in any superhero movie ever is whenever it's in the first Venom movie, whenever he's like that building and he comes out of the elevator or whatever, and there's that SWAT team around him, and they all the commanding officer or whatever, he goes mask, and they go copy, and they put their mask on, and then he calls on Venom, and he goes mask, and Venom goes copy and puts it, and Venom comes out.
I gave me chills.
So
that scene's so fucking hype.
That is the reason why that movie isn't complete dog shit. Like it's not a great movie, but it's not absolutely terrible. But it's that moment. It's such a good moment.
Well, especially because the only other iteration of it was we got fucking Eric Foreman.
Yeah, exactly. Topher Grace.
Which again, I get separate the art from the artist, bro. And I get that Eddie because some people don't like Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock because they wanted him to be more of a nerd. But I'm like, bro, that no one liked Venom, and then they liked Venom because of Tom Hardy.
If you ever plan on putting him in universe with Spider-Man, you don't want two nerds. You want Peter Parker's the likable, the nerdy, the whatever, and you need the antithesis of that to be his villain, But he's just badass enough to be likable as well. So you don't completely root against him,
Because you can't have a guy who's a bitch being like, I wish I was a bitch too. It doesn't fucking work that.
Yeah.
Well, rounding it out, what's your third favorite movie then? I know we jumped sideways, but back to
probably. I'm willing to bet you haven't seen it. McFarlane USA.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's like a Disney movie that was made somewhere in the mid 2000s, something maybe like 2012, 2015, somewhere around there. And Kevin Costner stars in it. He's a football coach in California, and then he gets moved to. He may not already be in California, but he ends up he something happens, and so he has to get a new job, and he gets a job in Southern California, and they need a cross country coach, and so he becomes a cross country coach, and it's Southern California, so it's an all Hispanic town, and he starts to get these Hispanic kids to be on the cross country team, and it's just a super emotional movie. Like he learns about like immigrants, like what they are in America and what it's like to be a first generation, how their parents work for them.
That's really
like,
dope.
It's the go-to. Like I cried 7 times in that movie.
Like,
it's,
Kevin Costner's
and that's the only
great,
time
too.
I'll cry in a movie. I don't cry for sadness. I cry out of like heartwarming stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I cry in that movie every time I watch it. Such an underrated movie that nobody knows about. It's on Disney Plus. I highly recommend it.
Damn, yeah, dude. There's a lot of classics I have not seen, but there's not very many.
I haven't seen any classics. I know zero class. Like never seen like Pulp Fiction, Schindler's List.
Schindler's List is like Schindler's List is one of those movies where I'm like, I don't think you really need to see that movie.
We didn't watch movies. My family, we didn't for most of my childhood, we didn't have cable. We didn't have a DVD player. We didn't have a so it's like we didn't. And whenever we did get it, I was like kind of late to the Disney and Nickelodeon train. That like I watched Disney and Nickelodeon way past I should have been. Like I was maybe 14, 15 still watching like Disney shows because I didn't watch it growing up. So
yeah, I grew up a TV kid too, where it was like a little different than you. We had cable, but we had like the early version of the TiVo.
Mm-hmm.
So like we could record shit. So for like a long time, I watched TV shows, not movies, and like my parents like. A lot of those classic movies kind of fall on your parents to kind of show you as you're growing
and they're
up.
not fans. I mean, my dad likes entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
He likes movies and stuff, but he likes a lot of older westerns and things like that. My mom's
my dad showed me Rocky,
movie.
Star Wars,
My mom's
Rambo.
favorite movie of all time is Top Gun, which is like a good movie, but she likes it.
Turn the mic back, please. There you go. There you go.
She likes it because she likes Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer's great.
So
dude.
that's why she likes Top Gun. And then the only other movie I've ever seen her like sit there and enjoy and not wish that it was over is Bolt.
Huh.
That animated
With the dog?
Yes, dude. Which is a great movie.
It's a great.
It's not. I'm not putting it in any top list, but it's a really and she's. My mom's very much a dog person. I was raised. We bred dogs, and stuff
That's
like
so
that.
crazy. You grew up, you said, on a dachshund
I
farm?
joke about it. Yeah, weenie dog farm. It was just we just bred weenie dogs. So
like, how many at a time would you have at your house?
It just depended because.
If it was a good weenie season or not?
Yeah, exactly. We
the crops are bountiful.
Sometimes you'd have litters that would overlap. So we'd have two different litters of puppies, and if each litter had 6 or 7 puppies, that doubles the amount of dogs we had. But
dude.
as far as dogs that we had that we bred, I mean, at one point we had like 16 or 17.
Fuck that.
And then but that's because they were kind of preparing. They knew the older ones were on the last leg and whatever. And then, right now they have maybe 8 or 9. They don't do as much anymore. But the worst part is like now all their dogs are inside dogs. When I was growing up, they were all outside.
I was gonna say, did you like grow these in a barn, or did like all 16 like live in your house?
We just had a little kennel outside and in a big yard, and they just ran around there. And then whenever we were trying to get them to like breed, we put them in the kennels together. And for certain ones that we wanted to breed. And then my mom got one dog one time. She was like, I want this one to be an inside dog, and got that first one. It was an inside dog, and then. She liked it, so she got another one that was an inside dog and another one, and then we had to have a doggy door for them to go inside and outside. So my dad got part of the yard that we had, built a fence so that the inside dogs could go outside without being around the other ones. But then the other dogs learned how to either dig around or climb over the fence. So they started coming in the doggy door, whatever. And then like my parents, they just love the dogs. Now they just have tons of weenie dogs in their house.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not a big dog guy.
That's reasonable, bro.
It was a chore when I was growing up. Every weekend I had to go clean the kennels and stuff like that.
Oh God, bro. Yeah, you're like the vegan who grows up on like a slaughter farm. Like you're just like, I'm fucking tired of
like
these,
I don't want to see.
Yeah. Like, give me the fake food. Give me the cats, bro.
Exactly, dude. So yeah, we just didn't grow up in entertainment, So it's like I didn't watch any movies growing up, and so the ones that I finally got into were movies like I said, I would watch at a certain time or whatever, and they're very much connected to nostalgia for me.
Word, I respect that. I want to do 2 with you. What's your death row meal? So like sometimes people are confused by this. More just like, like for some, you get put on death row, you get to order like one last meal. You can be as descriptive or undescriptive as you want about it, I suppose. We did find out that, sadly, I think it was that the budget that you get is like $40.
Oh, really?
And it has to
Mine's
be
not
local.
Cost that.
No.
Mine don't cost that at all. So somebody in my family would have to make it for me. Mm-hmm. It's something that I grew up on. It's my comfort food. It's my favorite food. It's called Cowboy stew.
Okay. I feel like I know what it's going to be, but what is it?
You have a lot of guests probably come and just tell you what their favorite food is.
Do you
but
have your favorite food?
I cooked a pot of it about 2 or 3 days ago.
No way. I don't think anyone's brought food like
I've
this
been
on the
eating on it,
podcast.
and so I brought some for you to
Oh,
either eat
shit.
during the podcast.
I want to try it
or-
on the pod.
Yeah,
and obviously,
dude,
I'll
we
imagine that
can
it's not
put the mics
cold.
down and go heat it up, and then come back.
All right, yeah. All right, guys, we're back. We were off mic. The power of editing, you have no idea, but we went and we heated up the food, so I didn't have to try it cold. All right, so I'm about to try this. What is this? What is in this?
Cowboy stew. So I prepared it for you how I eat it.
Yes.
There's cornbread in there. Normally cornbread comes on the side. I like
fuck
to
with that.
I
I
like to
li-
crumble it up and put cornbread in there.
I do that in my chili. Same difference.
It's just this big pot of stew. Start off, you just make some ground beef, season it however you want it. You know, you can do spicy, bland, however you are, whichever type of white you are.
Yeah, what
And
kind is
then,
this? Because I fuck with spicy.
It's not. I mean, I season
It's
meat.
like mild?
I season meat really good,
Yeah.
but I mean, I cut up and put half a habanero pepper in there, so
Fuck
it's
yeah.
not spicy. I don't like spicy food, but it's seasoned like Texas food is. So
Alright, I'm gonna try it then.
yeah, it's ground beef with some rotel, so that's tomatoes and onions, and then some potatoes, some corn, some ranch style beans, cheese, and cornbread, and it's like it's like. You're not going to eat it and be like, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. But to me, it's comfort. It tastes like home.
No, this is really good. It's
So that's
it's funny because it's like the best way to describe it is a poor delicacy.
Yeah.
It's like
It is, dude.
no,
This is
like-
where I'm from, you throw everything in a pot. That's what jambalaya is.
Yeah,
There's
like-
no wrong way to make jambalaya, wrong way to make gumbo. There is a really wrong way to make gumbo. But
Yeah.
at the premise of what it is you throw everything in a pot. And so you throw some veggies and some meat in a pot, and it's cheese and cornbread.
I think like when I say like a poor delicacy, what I mean is like this shit's fire, and all of you would like thoroughly
Bro, it's like a
enjoy this.
$6
Here, Erica, I know you want to try it.
I make a pot of it. I've been eating on it for like the past 4 or 5 days
Yeah.
because my girlfriend's been dog sitting. So she's been staying in another house. And at night, whenever I get home, I just warm this up. And like you make a whole pot, you can eat on it for almost a week, you know?
Nah, that shit's delicious. It's just like, of course, like it's not gonna win any awards. Any chef is gonna be like, "What is this piss?" Like,
Yeah.
I make the wider version of it, and we just call it like shepherd's pie, and
Yeah.
it's like vegetable medley, meat, mashed potatoes, and like you don't add like beans or cheese on it. So it's
Yeah.
like it's in gravies, and you put some gravy.
That's what I'm
in
saying.
it,
Like,
and,
yeah, you
mix
put, I mean, when you put everything in a pot, you like pour some beef stock in there and let everything kind of like boil
yeah, and it
out
looks
stuff.
like it doesn't look fucking amazing, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Like another like, it's different than this because like dishes like that take work, and you can taste like the homemadeness in them, and they're good. But like the cheap version of that's still fire is just Hamburger Helper.
Yeah.
Like same thing, bro.
Well, yeah, hamburger, it's like 2 ingredients. It's just like a meat and noodles.
It's such
But like,
it's gas though.
What it's like I love about like this is like you could do everything like from if you wanted to put the canned potatoes, you put the canned rotel, canned corn, canned what you get, or if you get like the fresh ingredients and put it in there, it's like the premium version of Cowboy stew.
yeah.
If you make like my grandma makes the cornbread from scratch as opposed to a box, and so that takes it to a whole nother level. Like
Yeah,
it's like you
fuck.
can make different versions of it depending on how broke you are.
I like that. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, yours is like my shepherd's pie with a little more like pizzazz and swagger to it. Mine's like the super white version. Like your dish came from
There's like the acoustic Cowboy stew.
exactly, my little Hall and Oates when you
Yeah.
eat that shit.
Like,
Yeah,
like I said, my girlfriend, she hates the fact that I put my cornbread in there. But that's just what I love the texture it creates and stuff like that.
I
with
like
the
it both
cheese.
ways,
And
yeah.
so she eats the cornbread on the side. But dude, cornbread's such like a delicacy in the South. Like my grandma will bake cornbread and then get a glass of milk and just dip the cornbread in the milk and eat it.
dude.
Like,
Yeah, it's good. It's a
just-
sweet because it's like sweet.
Yeah.
But it still has that like carby
It's kind of
bread
like a muffin,
consistency.
but it's got some
yeah.
savory to it.
Yeah, it's not as it's honestly like it's like a slice of white bread with most food, but it's not as bland as white bread. And I get
At
that
all, yeah.
sometimes the white bread's nice as like a palate
But people do
absorber.
with barbecue and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
but even then, bro, I don't like bread with my barbecue.
Yeah,
There's
I
so
don't
much
love
other shit to eat. Why do I want to eat like? You're basically just eating like the fucking parchment paper you put under. That's all it is. Is they're like, hey, set all your good food on top of this, and let's hope it absorbs into
It's
this
like-
piece of shit.
part of it's just like to fill you up because a lot of barbecue places you go to, you'll spend like $45 for a tray and they don't
That's
even
true.
give you anything.
That's true, yeah.
So they just give you bread so you'll fill up on that.
Yeah, barbecue is so good, but it's the most overpriced
It's like
food.
the 2 things that I won't go eat at a restaurant is barbecue and crawfish.
Okay,
Did y'all
yeah.
grow up with crawfish? No, not at all.
I've never even had a crawfish.
never
I know what they are. Like
wild.
but it was something I probably was like 14 years old and heard a show.
It's just like crawfish. It tastes good. It's really good. Don't get me wrong or anything like that. It's like a small, just a little
So you
spicy
suck the
Cajun.
heads out, right?
I have family members that do that. I don't suck the heads.
So then what do you eat?
But
I thought that was the
it's
only
meat
thing
and the
you
tail. It's like a lobster or a shrimp.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
The way, dude, the way
you can
people
you can eat the claw meat as well, but
What
it
the fuck?
looks like a little lobster is what
Yeah.
it looks like, and you pinch and you break the tail off, and then you peel back like the little scales or
Yeah.
not scales, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the
the little,
skin.
and then you just take the meat. I mean, it's the tiniest little thing in the meat in the world, but that's why you get a whole tray of it. And the reason I like crawfish is because of a crawfish boil, which is where you invite everybody over. Somebody makes and you have a big cooler with it in there. You usually use like an actual like pan that you would like boil water in.
Mm-hmm.
You use that as the scoop, and you just scoop it onto your tray, and you sit down, and everybody's hanging out, they're laughing, they're drinking, and you're eating crawfish. You're not gonna get full off of it,
Yeah.
like you put links in there, you put potatoes and corn in there as well. That kind of helps fill you up, but that's the reason why crawfish is great, because it's attached to like good memories and stuff like that. It's like I'm not gonna go to a restaurant and order a $40 plate of like one plate of crawfish that you're not gonna get full off of, and it's probably not made that great. So it's like
It's just not worth it. Yeah.
crawfish is my girlfriend's favorite food in the entire world. She loves it. She has this one little like hole in the wall place back home that she goes to. Shout out K Asian.
Yeah.
And she gets it every time that we're home. But like I will not order crawfish at a restaurant because it's just.
I respect that.
To me, it's like it's not worth it. The reason why I love it is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And same with like barbecue. Like barbecue's great because you throw a barbecue and you have people come over and it's 4th of July or it's a birthday or whatever. But if you go to a restaurant, try to order it, you're gonna spend so much money and you're not even gonna get that much food. And also, I'm a sides guy. I could you could burn the hell out of the barbecue. I'll eat it. It'll be fine. I just want to know like how good is the mac and cheese? Like
Yeah.
I'm such a sides guy. For Thanksgiving, sides. I don't care if the turkey's good or not. I just love sides.
I respect. Yeah, dude. Sides guy like side. If you're right,
Let's get a
dude.
poll. We gotta put up a pulse. Are you a meat or a sides guy?
I think people who say they're a meat guy are a liar because
I
it's
don't know.
like
My dad would. I mean, when we have barbecue, he just gets meat, puts it on the thing, and eats the meat. He will not touch the dirty rice. He will not touch the mac and cheese
Dirty
or
rice is so
whatever.
good.
Like it's just meat for him.
I mean, I
people
feel like
out
they're
there.
symbiotic. Like
I know. I like them together.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love 'em
Like,
together,
like
but-
don't get me wrong. If you have shit meat, the meal sucks. But if you have shit sides, the meal also sucks.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'd rather the sides be good than the meat. So I'm definitely a sides guy.
Huh?
sure.
That's interesting.
Because I've had Thanksgivings where the turkey was not good. I've had Thanksgivings where the turkey was undercooked and we just took it out because everybody was ready to eat. And we couldn't even eat the turkey. But if the sides were fire, it was a good Thanksgiving, you know?
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
if the sides aren't good and everybody's just like sharing this one turkey, like it's not good. But like I said, I die by my sides stance that I have. I love sides.
I actually can't figure out right now which one I lean. I think I'm genuinely 50-50 because there's like
You don't want one without the other?
yeah,
You don't wanna just
I
eat meat?
I guess I'm probably a meat guy though because I would rather have like a nice
Cool.
steak.
It's cool that
by
now we have to
itself.
fight, but yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna duel
It's
after
cool
this.
that now we have to box. But what were you saying?
You brought hobo stew and fucking boxing
Hobo
gloves.
stew?
Is that what it's called?
Cowboy stew.
Yeah. Hobo stew sounds so much more insulting.
I kind of want to try it, to be honest.
Yeah. Hobo stew probably gas. Got a
You don't
little
use
crack,
ground
an
meat, you
A-ball
use
in it.
rat.
Yeah.
Like rat meat.
It's rat and there's no salt. It's actually just an 8-ball of Coke sprinkled on top.
Oh man.
Fuck, dude. Hobo stew. My bad.
Maybe that's why I like Cowboy stew, because it's the meat and the sides all together in one pot.
Yeah, that's respectable. That like I get that. Yeah, because that's why that's good. Is it has everything in it.
One bite, yeah.
And if you kind of took out one or the other, it wouldn't be as good. Like if you took out the potatoes, it's not as good. If you take out the meat, it's not as good. It kind of falls into both. I told you to bring a topic to discuss.
You
Is
said
there-
something I'm passionate
Yeah,
about.
something you're passionate
That's
about.
like kind of like we touched on it earlier. The one thing like that I was. I mean, the two biggest things. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to my personality, it's comedy and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Those are I
Yeah.
love them. Like I love the NBA. Like to a default to where there's times where like I need to go out and do comedy, and I'm like, you know, but Luka's playing tonight.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
like it's like so like every year I always make sure I have league pass, so anywhere I'm at I can watch on my phone.
That's
so,
smart, yeah.
I mean that's like the two things like legit passionate about, but it's not as interesting to people that don't really care.
Yeah.
But it's like the other ones like Marvel. Like I love superheroes. I love superhero shit. Like I go into all like the fan fiction things, like all types of stuff.
Well, because
like
you
that.
said you can draw very
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
did that passion come from comic books as why and
Yeah,
Marvel and
it's-
stuff?
Drawing, I don't know. It's like, it's kind of 50-50 because I could always draw. I remember being a kid when I first met my older brother because my dad's not my real dad, but that's a long story.
Yeah,
He had a son already, and he was already a teenager by the time he married my mom. And when I met him, he was like this cool, like
Bro,
like,
you made that so confusing. Like the word stepdad doesn't exist.
but he's not a stepdad.
Oh, he's not?
He adopted me and he raised me. I don't know my real father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is a little more.
He's my dad,
Yeah, okay.
so-
I thought you were like, yeah, my mom met this guy when I was like 8. They got married. I don't really know what to call him.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say stepdad. And you would be like, that's
he's
a
my
thing.
dad. I guess my older brother's my half brother, but I've never even looked at it that way. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. I've never even thought about that.
Huh,
But
yeah,
he
can't fuck him now.
But when not again. Whenever I met him, he was he's kind of like this like punk rock kind of dude in like
Yeah.
the early 2000s, and he, you know, wore Chucks and baggy pants and this
Yeah.
type of stuff. And he got tattoos when he was in high school.
Little
Like he was just like
teenage
an edgy
dirtbag.
guy, you know,
Yeah.
teenage dirtbag. And I just remember thinking he was like so cool. And he had tattoos of like flames and stuff like that. And he
That's
drew
not cool at all.
he drew flames and showed me a picture of it. And I have a distinct, like on an old school phone, like I have a distinct memory of like that's where I was like, I want to draw. And the first thing that I ever got good at drawing was flames and fire. And I would just go to
Yeah.
school and draw like we'd have like the little 2-inch binders for your classes, and everybody like, dude, can you draw flames on my binder? Like that's just what I would
cool,
do.
okay.
And and then through that, I think I was at daycare maybe one day, and I used to have a Wolverine shirt. No, it was a folder. I had a Wolverine folder, one or the other. And I definitely have had a Wolverine shirt. I just don't know if that's the one in this story.
Yeah.
I drew a picture of Wolverine from some sort of reference that I had at daycare,
That's
and
dope.
took it home. And that day at my grandparents' house just happened to be a day that like my aunt and uncle were over there, my cousin, my parents, everybody was like freaking out, like, yo, this drawing is so good. You're like 7. Like this
Someone like, you traced this?
yeah, like they just like thought it was so good, and like I'd registered it as okay, well that means I'm good at drawing superheroes, like and like just kind of started from there, and then found an actual love for comics in that world. But it was always the stuff that was like you said a little bit more grounded in reality. That type.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
X-Men's so cool. Like we were talking about the other night, like the whole like Magneto Professor X thing,
Yeah.
and how it's like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and
Yeah.
the X-Men was made in the 60s, right in the middle of segregation, and it was made to represent the two sides
Yeah,
between
yeah.
like the white people, the black people, and the mutants and the humans,
Yeah.
and like the fight for equality and stuff like that. Like as I got older, just like starting to learn all that stuff, and just had an absolute like admiration for Stan Lee. Dude, when he died, dude, I bawled.
Fuck,
He was
yeah.
just such a big part of my childhood. Like,
Yeah, of course.
He created a whole universe.
I always say there's like 3 as like an adult. As an adult male, there's like 3 celebrities that you can be like mad and sad over they died, and then after that, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
bro. You don't give a fuck that
I
he
don't
died.
even know who mine would be outside of Stan Lee. I remember Paul Walker's death sucked,
And that's the thing, dude. Like,
but it
that's-
didn't suck until I saw Fast and Furious 7.
Yeah.
I didn't care until I saw that movie.
Okay.
And then at the end, when it's like the voiceover, and he's like, "You'll always be my friend, whether you're across the world or a quarter mile away," and then the song starts playing.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, dang, I know.
Yeah.
they do the piano keys. It's like just like the
Yeah.
beginning of the piano. Like that's
You know
when I
that
was like, it
song's the
sucks.
most viewed song ever on YouTube.
I mean,
has
that's
billions
it
of
gave
views.
Charlie Puth a career. That was his first
But
song.
yeah,
Like,
no, it did give him a career, but like,
I'm not gonna say he wouldn't have became big without it, but like
I'm
Wiz
saying that
Khalifa
it's
just
like-
found this white dude on YouTube and was like, "Yo, let's put him on this track," and then that's what made him.
yeah, but who the fuck is Charlie Puth now? Is he doing big
He's
shit?
great, dude.
I just don't know who Charlie
Like,
Puth
have you
is.
seen his stuff online? Where
Is he the TikToker dude who like?
no?
is
He's like
the
he's a
keys of
professional.
everything?
Do you know what perfect pitch is?
No, like
So it's
the
like
movie?
you can do anything. You can not the movie. So you can
That's
like
Pitch Perfect. The
you
other way
can
around.
touch
Perfect,
anything or play an instrument or hit a glass or whatever, and everything has a frequency and a pitch. And certain musicians have reached a level of hearing where they can identify the pitch of anything, whatever sound you make. And there's like videos of Charlie Puth online of like them like hitting a glass or playing a piano key or whatever, and like he knows the pitch, and not only can he do that, but he can make this like not the sound, but he can make the pitch with his voice. And like you'll play him at the same time, and they'll like harmonize.
Oh,
it's like,
shit.
He's a crazy magician.
he's a fucking
magician.
nerd
He's
is
a crazy
what he is,
musician.
dude. He's a
kind
loser.
of a music nerd, but he's hot, and so it kind of helps. Like
You said hot, and Erica turned the mic on. What's up?
he has like this cool like scar on his eyebrow that makes it look like that cut that like only handsome dudes can have.
Oh,
you
the
know?
little shaved eyebrows,
Yeah,
the
dude.
Teen Wolf shit.
Yeah,
What were you
yeah,
gonna say,
yeah.
Erica?
I was gonna say Jocelyn has perfect pitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
what's
It's like
cool.
a certain. It's like OG. Like you gotta have a real like good level of being a musician or singer or whatever it is to have perfect pitch. It's like a superpower. Like it's
Yeah. I mean,
It is.
It's
really
it
cool.
is like a superpower, but it's like Hawkeye's superpower. Like it's fucking pointless, you know?
Dude, and
oh.
also in the comics, Hawkeye's deaf, so he's way cooler.
Oh, he's like Echo.
That's
Or-
why like in the Hawkeye series they finally started to introduce it by making him lose his hearing because
Oh,
he's
I
older.
haven't seen the
But
series.
in the
so he-
comics, he's legit deaf, and like
That's
like
cool.
Nick Fury found him trying to like shimmy his way into a car, and he's like an orphan and was deaf, and like brought him in. He was like the first Shield agent. Like he like brought him in and raised him in Shield, and like he's the best spy in all of Marvel. So like
Yeah.
his thing goes much further than just like a bow and arrow. Like
Yeah, they
he's
kind
a-
of made him lame
he's
in
a,
the movies.
He's a tactician. He's one of the best like hand-to-hand combat fighters like in the entire.
Because in the
MCU.
show, don't they like introduce a separate character that's also deaf? Isn't it
Yeah,
Echo?
it's Echo. Yeah,
Is
she's
she-
real in the comics
Oh,
too.
okay. I thought they just were like, we forgot to make him deaf, so
Yeah,
like let's.
she's real in the comic. They're all part of that. It's like they're all gonna tie it. It's kind of
To
weird.
Daredevil,
it's like this,
right?
like yeah, this like weird special needs corner of MCU where they have everybody that can't hear, see, or talk are all fighting each other. But dude,
They're
can we-
like,
can we
all
do a
right,
fair
this
fight?
superhero can't hear, but he has supervision. This one can't see, but he has super hearing, and this one can say every name of every dinosaur ever. Thanos, Velociraptor, Tyrannosaurus, Dilophosaurus. He's like, I don't know what to do.
This is weird. It's not like the MCU. It's like the MC. Like, yeah, it's just all these people with disabilities fighting each other now.
That's
but that's what it's
fucking-
gonna be like. The Echo series, the Daredevil series, Hawkeye. They're kind of like all overlapping now.
They're not superheroes; they're special heroes.
Exactly. Yeah. Super duper heroes.
That would be so funny, bro. Like, because you know how X-Men, they have all like the mutants, and they like kind of show them going through adolescence. You just have like the
When they first get their powers.
Yeah, they're like, all right, Daredevil, Echo, you two are going in a small little cubicle that's way farther away from the rest of the school.
Instead of like Xavier's Institute for Gifted Youngsters, it's just special ed.
They're like, like Cyclops is like, I learned how to hone my powers today, and then Daredevil's like, I made macaroni art yesterday.
Oh, dude. But that's why they're so cool. Is like they like overcome this stuff. Like Daredevil's one of the most like.
He's someone I
amazing-
could have
like,
left out of
he's
my
so-
top three.
He's so cool, dude.
That series is so
The series is
fucking
great.
good
The
too.
series
Charlie
is great.
Cox, and then they bring in John Bernthal as the Punisher. God, that
was the
whole-
one thing I didn't like. I don't love the Punisher, but I've never loved Vigilante. Either be good or be bad. I've never loved like when it comes to heroes, vigilantes.
I feel
It's
like
not
I
my favorite.
relate to the vigilante
It's like
where
why I love Daredevil because he's like not Daredevil, sorry, Deadpool because he's mainly part of X-Men. That's
Yeah.
how he like became what it, but and he's such a cool character, so it's hard not to like him. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that he's not good or bad. He's a vigilante. So
I like it because I
or a
feel like
mercenary.
you can relate to that as like a human. Where it's like I'm sure
Yeah.
if you took a survey, 90% of people would be like, "Oh, he's a good person," or
yeah.
"He'd be a
For
good guy."
sure, yeah.
But I like break laws and I do shit that I want to do, and I'm not like a hero by the book. So I feel like you can relate to it a little, but I do get you where it can be annoying if it's like the hero that's like a bad guy and a good guy. You're
Yeah.
like, that doesn't make sense.
For sure.
You could be in the middle, but to be like both, How?
Yeah,
How?
just get, like I just want to root for you all the time. I don't
Yeah.
I don't want there to ever be a time where I feel bad for rooting.
It's a
for
boring
you.
character as like a it's not a dynamic character. They're
Yeah,
just
it's like,
always
so it's like,
likable.
I guess it's maybe hypocritical in a way, but it's like one of my favorite series of all time is Arrow, and it's like the first probably 6 seasons of Arrow. I don't like the last 2,
Yeah.
but for one thing, it did the whole superhero thing for me. I kind of got that fix in there,
Yeah.
and it was just like it was made well. It was cool to see those characters kind of react, or be put into a television universe. But he's a vigilante, but like I don't ever root against him. Everything
Yeah.
he does, I'm like, yeah, that's the right move. Like I'm always rooting for him. So
Yeah.
it just kind of has to be in a way where the Punisher, like. I guess maybe there wasn't times where I was always rooting for him, so maybe that's why I didn't like him as well.
That's
but
fair,
John
yeah.
Bernthal's
Nah,
awesome.
yeah, I mean he's a great fucking actor.
he's awesome.
All right, dude, we're this podcast is fucking flown by, but I want to do some would you rather's here to
My
wrap
favorite
it up.
actor is Shia LaBeouf, by the way.
Shia LaBeouf's
Go
a
ahead.
great actor, dude. He has some good movies.
I just randomly thought about that because
Can
John
you pull
Bernthal's
up the
in
would you
Fury.
rather's, Erica? When you get a second, yeah, there's the 4. You can just pull them up in order, and then if you take the trackpad and zoom in, I can't read that. I'm too old. Okay, yeah. So I got some. That's actually funny.
You
I
can't read that, Daredevil, at all. Not even a little bit.
I got some superhero related would you rather. So
Cool.
3 protect you, the other 3 attack. Would you rather be protected by Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Hulk, or Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Cyclops? And I feel like this is a good one for you because you're like you're the comic book guy. So you actually
Wolverine and
know.
Hulk famously fight all the time.
Wolverine and Hawkeye always fight.
No, Wolverine and Hulk
Oh,
always
Hulk.
fight.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
They're pretty evenly
and
powered.
I mean, out of all of them, I take, like, if it was all 6 of them fought to the death, I'm taking Wolverine because he can't die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could. People are like, just drown him and stuff like that, but it's not fun to live in that world.
Is Cyclops sick? Because Cyclops just seems annoying in all the movies. Like he's just like
it's
you're
just like one of those things where his power is something that you can't like really make him. If you fully embrace his power,
He's
there's
destructive.
there's no depth to his character.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to like numb it a little bit because like in the comics, like as far as like if they just rate like the power of all like all Marvel characters, like their pure like power output.
Yeah.
he's one of the top ones. Just
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the
because he can melt like other superheroes with that laser.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
could he
it's
kill
crazy.
Wolverine or not?
Wolverine just heals too fast. It's like
Okay. Oh, 'cause
in
he's
theory, the
regenerative.
whole thing about Wolverine is like no matter what you say, nah, he'll live.
Okay.
So it's kind of a thing you don't even want to get into. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's not even close. I would take Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Cyclops protecting me against Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Hulk. Spider-Man and Iron Man be a cool hell of a fight. Cyclops is killing Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Especially if
there's
it's
certain
Death
things
Hawkeye.
like if Hawkeye's some way able to get the visor off of Cyclops, then that's the one thing where like Cyclops can't control his powers because
Yeah.
he hit his head when he fell out of a plane when he was a kid. So he saying it like we grew up together.
yeah. Back in the day, old Cyclops, he was a crazy fella.
Him and his brother. His name's Scott. His brother's name's Alex. They were in a plane crash and they both lost control of their powers. But anyways, he can't control. Anytime his eyes are open, it comes out unless he has a ruby thing on it.
Yeah, the
ruby,
little
ruby
black,
lenses. So if Hawkeye gets somebody to, but like I think Cyclops is taking Hawkeye. Iron Man and Spider-Man would be a cool fight, but I'm taking Spider-Man and Wolverine and Hulk. That's probably the best matchup. But it's like Hulk can die. Wolverine. I mean, if you just slit Hulk's throat, he can't heal. Wolverine
Yeah.
can heal. Like obviously Hulk is stronger, but Wolverine like he cannot heal like Wolverine can. So
Yeah, okay, that's a good. I like that one. Then, Erica, can you click on that one? I want to see what other Reddit people
cool
are
they
going
threw
with.
Cyclops in there,
Yeah,
'cause
so
he's kind of a
We're gonna go with Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Cyclops
Oh, yeah.
out of 224 people. Wow, we're in the
They went the other
minority.
way. But like, because they're like the more low key, like
They're more famous.
Avengers are famous. Like the MCU is like So, but I'm cool
Okay,
with
yeah,
that
I
for
get that.
sure.
I wanted to hear your input though as like a comic.
And also,
book
there's
fan.
people that just think Hulk is like the greatest. Like
I think he's a
unbeatable.
pussy after
He's
the
not
movies.
that
They make
awesome.
him a.
It's like there's a
giant
guy in
vagina.
X-Men named Colossus who is like physically he's like stronger than the Hulk. Like he could just lift more than the Hulk can.
Is he a bad guy in Deadpool, or is that a different? dude?
Yeah, but he's not a bad guy.
Yeah,
he's
just
one of
a-
the X-Men.
Yeah.
He's this Russian guy, Peter Rasputin.
Yeah.
And yeah, his body gets covered in metal and like you can't hurt him and he's also strong as shit. So
Okay, yeah.
it's like Hulk, I mean he's powerful, don't get me wrong, but it's just not, I don't think it's much of a fight.
I feel you. Erica, can you pull up the next one? Next tab over. All right. Which would you rather would you have happen to you?
kid on Christmas
A kid on
morning.
Christmas. As a kid on Christmas. So you can zoom in one more time for me, please. I can't read that still enough. Find Santa dead with his body seriously burned because he burned to death in the fireplace. Your dad dead because Santa punished you for being naughty. That's terrifying. Your favorite pet dead under the tree along with a stocking
It's that
full
one.
of reindeer
It's that
manure.
one. Yeah, I didn't like any of my pets. It's that one.
That's like a dream come true. Like I ask for that every year
Yeah,
for my
that's-
dogs to
that's
die.
Christmas, man.
Reindeer sausages from All Nine Reindeer because your dad got drunk, shot them all, and made sausages to hide it. Or Santa's dead because he committed suicide in your living room because you were the naughtiest kid ever. Is there one more below that, Erica? If you zoom down, Mrs. Claus dead because Santa killed her for life insurance and left the body to frame you.
Yeah.
These are hilarious
mean,
answers.
I don't
What was
think-
the question again? Which one we would
Which one
want
would you
or
rather
wouldn't?
on
Would you
Christmas morning?
rather have
I mean, the
happen?
easiest one's like reindeer sausage. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, that's
about
to
the
come up on
reindeer?
some
Like that's
food.
you just get a meal out of it, and like Santa doesn't have to die, so he can come back next year.
Yo, why
You know
is
what I'm
that
saying?
not a movie that like Santa kills your dad or like someone and frames you for the murder?
That'd be crazy.
That'd be a fire ass dude. That's a fire ass movie. A couple goes to sleep on Christmas, wakes up to his wife murdered with like an icicle,
Yeah.
and there's signs of people coming down the chimney. Your cookies are eaten, and you're like, it's
wow.
Santa Claus, and no one
It's
believes
like
him
Wolverine.
that
a
it's
super-
Santa Claus.
It's Wolverine dressed up like Santa, and he kills him. And the movie's called Santa Claus.
I
and
like
it's
that.
Like
Okay, yeah.
CLAWS.
That'd be great, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just picked this one for the silly ass
Yeah.
answers.
It's
I mean,
easily the
obviously, yeah.
sausages when,
We don't even
like,
have to click
I
the
don't
answers
care if
on
the
that one. I
reindeer-
just
So now what you're saying is now Santa can't leave to go to any
The
other
scene of
houses.
the crime,
so I just
yeah.
get everyone's presents, and I get reindeer sausage.
I
Like,
feel the idea too of the fire. You find Santa dead with his body burned because of the
I
fireplace.
love that first one. They said like Santa burned like 9 times. Like we want you to think about the fact Santa burned. Like,
He was in real
find Santa
fucking
dead with his
pain, yeah.
body seriously burned because he burned.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't know he died of burns when he burned to death.
Usually you find him in the fireplace with ashes on him. You're like, did he have COVID? Like
Yeah,
what?
they're
happened?
like, all right, so you find Santa burned because he drowned in your swimming pool in the backyard. You're like, what?
Oh, dude.
All right, Erica, we got 2 more. I think the next one is also Marvel related. If
Cool.
it doesn't matter. If you could just click on the next one. Would you rather be unhealthily skinny or unhealthily fat? So you just opened a new tab. You're good if you. Okay,
Dude,
you
it's
got
so
rid of
hard
it.
'cause
Whatever.
it's
We can.
like-
I remember it. It's you're not. Gonna
I
be able
don't
to find
care
it. Just
about-
click on the next one.
I don't care about like the physical health benefits or lack thereof for being fat. For me, it's like mentally, I think I would hate being fat. And
You don't think you would hate being like?
I'm
like,
getting fatter every day, but the reason like I will try to go play basketball once or twice a week or go for a run every now and then or something is because like mentally I would hate myself if I was fat.
Yeah, but I'm talking like I think you're thinking like you're skinny. Like we're not talking like petite,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
Dale skin.
That's what
We're
I'm saying.
talking
Unhealth, like if it's like unhealthy,
like Christian Bale and the Machinist skinny.
unhealthy physically, I would take fat because I don't think anything would mess with me mentally about being skinny. It would just
wouldn't.
be the pure malnutrition of like physical unhealthiness. But
And I'd rather be obese because the thing is you're like if you're a machinist skinny, you're also like
I'd rather be fat. And
So
like,
fat.
Chicks like fat guys.
and like dude, here's the thing. Both you're not gonna be happy with your life that much, but I'd be a little more happy eating a fucking
dude.
4x4 from In-N-Out than being like my one cashew for the day.
You know how many I write fat jokes all the time,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them I can't even get away with because I'm not fat enough to say
Yeah.
them, and it makes me so because I feel like I'm a fat guy. I
Yeah.
feel like
You don't
I
look
weigh.
like that.
That's what
You're
I'm
saying you're not a fat guy.
It's an
so
illusion. When I put clothes on, I look fine. If I take this off, it's like a stick of butter. Like it's just not.
And
good.
here's the thing: you don't have to tell me yes or no because there's no need to hurt my feelings. But like, I used to do a lot of like I'm ugly jokes, and I'm not saying I'm hot,
Yeah.
but someday someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, you're not like objectively ugly, so you can't. Those jokes aren't funny because some
Yeah.
of the crowd
That
is
makes
like,
sense.
you're not.
It doesn't.
Ugly.
It just doesn't make sense.
You
yeah.
either got to be like butt ass ugly or like really fat.
That's the thing
to
about fat.
make
It's like I'm not
those-
up there just like I'm fat, but I have a lot like every day. I mean, for the past 7 years, I go to bed and I'm like, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and start my day with a run.
Yeah.
Never done it.
Yeah.
There's days that I've never ran in the morning in my life. I don't even know if my legs go that fast in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's like, my jokes are about like the fact that like every day I want to start getting in shape and I don't, and I'm just getting fatter. That's like, and it's like, but I try to tell some of them and they're like, no, dude, you do go to the gym like once a week or once a month or whatever it may be. But it's like, I don't, but I was like, I think I would take fat. It'd be easy to write fat jokes, you know?
Yeah.
There's chicks out there that love fat guys, you know?
You get to wear gym shorts all the time.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
You
I wish I
always
could wear
have a
shorts
nice
on
pair of
stage.
titties to grab. Like,
Look how fucking stupid I look in these jeans, dude. Everyone I've seen has established
I know.
it.
It's crazy that I've seen you in something with belt loops. You either wear joggers or basketball shorts.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
how I
insane,
roll, dude. And I don't have a belt on, and these are falling off me when I stand up.
So yeah, I would rather be unhealthily fat.
I think
for sure.
I think that's the one for sure to go with. Okay, so last one. This one is superhero related, but it's like actor too. So would you Warner Brothers invites you for a free screening of The Flash with member of the Justice League as PR. Which Justice League member are you choosing to do PR with? So we got Henry Cavill, who's
these are, like,
Superman,
actors, not
Ezra
the-
Miller as the Flash. We got Ray Fisher is I don't know. Gail Gadot is Wonder Woman. Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Ben Affleck is Batman.
Is Ray Fisher the guy that plays
Cyborg?
Cyborg?
Ray Fisher does not sound like a black guy's name, if I'm being honest. That's my main guess, is why I'm like,
But that's who's all in the Justice League movie. So I feel like it has to be.
Okay, you're right. Because who else is who's Ray Fisher, Erica?
Yeah, he's cyborg.
He's Cyborg.
Okay.
Ray Fisher. That is the whitest. That's such a white black guy name. That's hilarious.
Ray Fisher. Man, it'd be cool. I mean, Ben Affleck, dude, he's just a legend. He was in Good Will Hunting.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's like,
Yo, did you
but
see both?
Jason Momoa, I just feel like would be something to behold in person.
That's
That's
true.
how you like. You have the option between Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa. Like, which one do you want to be blown away with by their beauty in person? And I pick Jason Momoa. Like, that's like how my brain works. I'm like, I don't
Suspect
care
as hell, yeah.
about Gal. Like, I would like to see Jason Momoa in person, just standing there, like to see his shadow on the ground. Like, how big is his shadow?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
dude. I want to feel his handshake.
I know,
What
it's
is-
crazy,
Well, that's
dude.
the thing. Women are always like, guys only care about looks. You're right. I was never considering Gal Gadot. I was like, which bro is the coolest that I can hang
Yeah,
out?
that's what I'm saying.
Here's the
Jason
thing, dude.
Momoa.
I kind of like, part of you has got to want to pick Ezra
That's
Miller.
what I say, but Ezra is off the walls right now. He's
Yeah,
insane,
like, bro,
you
I
know?
would love to do what we were saying earlier, a little bit of smack, and then and then hang out with Ezra Miller. Like, I would love to just get a beer. Like, it would be so fun to take Ezra Miller to get a beer and like buy the beer, sit there, and then just watch him explode on someone. Like, watch him just become insane and volatile within
go off.
seconds. And you're just like, this is fucking awesome, dude. But like, Ben would be cool. I think you're right. It's got to be
Ben or
Jason
Jason. Ben
Momoa
for, like,
or Ezra.
Ben for the hang, like to like it'd be cool to meet Ben, but Jason to like see him in
I
person.
think Henry Cavill's my last choice.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I don't know
that
why. Ray
interests me
Fisher's
about
only above him because I want to be like, hey man, you have a white name for a black dude, and then
Yeah.
or in a red.
That's it.
I have nothing to say to Henry.
That would probably be.
Dude, yeah,
should
you're
be
right. I'm
Jason.
going with Jason Momoa. I want to know what his hair smells like. I want to know. I want to know, does he use
He's
coconut
another
shampoo?
one of those dudes, them hot guys,
Yeah.
that has a scar on his eyebrow that looks
Yeah.
like a cut in it, dude.
Yeah.
I have a type.
You got.
We're realizing something right now, dude. I have a type.
Like, nothing gets me harder than dudes with a little scar
saying,
on
if
their
at
eyebrow.
some point you've had something sharp to your
Yeah.
eye, like I'm
You're
going
like,
off.
do you know how hot or how close to Harry Potter was to being sexy as fuck? If Harry Potter has an Anthony Davis unibrow, I'm fucking
Have you
squirting
seen
on the
these
screen.
things on TikTok where like they redesign like what Harry should have looked like, what his scar should have looked like,
Yeah.
as opposed to having a direct, just like plain vanilla, like
Yeah.
symmetrical lined out scar. It's like this much more faint, like red, jagged one that kind of goes over his face.
Oh, that would be
and it looks
sick.
way more badass, dude.
That
It
would
looks-
be
it's
sick
like
as
it's
fuck.
kind of like Zuko, like has like it's like faint red,
Yeah.
but it's like in the shape of like real like lightning, not a lightning bolt, but like it's like jagged, broken
yeah.
glass type lightning, and it looks so cool, bro.
That's hard,
They should
yeah.
have done that from the beginning.
Well, especially because it's like his kind of like his. I mean, it matters, but it's like you don't really notice the
Yeah.
scar like all of the
Just
movie.
pull his hair up.
Yeah, every
Give the
time
dude
they're like
a-
the one with the
Gives
scar.
the dude a fade.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck, dude.
speaking of, I've seen the pictures in here, dude. Back when you had short hair, you were a good looking white dude. I mean, like now
you don't like the long hair?
It's just for comedy purposes, the long hair works.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just out and you're just trying to look good, you look good with the
See,
short hair.
I feel like the hair was part of my quote unquote like glow up. Like I swear, when I got the hair, like moving out to Austin, I've gotten more. I've had with the longer hair, like
having long hair out here is like not like you go anywhere else. Like you're the guy with long hair in Austin. You're the guy with short hair. Like guys have long hair in Austin everywhere.
yeah, I feel like I just get like a lot of people are like, hey, like I've gotten a lot more like. Never in my life did women come up and hit on me until I got long hair, and I've had like more and more women come up to me and like just hit on me.
Women used to compliment my hair, but then that'd be it. Because like I used to have long hair for the listeners, and then like my whole life I just had buzz cuts because my mom cut my hair. And then in high school, when I got my driver's license, I was able to actually drive and get my hair cut. I did that for a few years, and then when the pandemic hit, I started to grow my hair out. And it was like super long, but I had like long, nice, curly, like cool. And women would come up and be like, "Your hair's so beautiful." I'm like, I can tell you like put products in it. And like they like appreciated it for hair, and then they would just leave. And so, but yeah, I got to Austin. All guys had long hair, and I was tired of dealing with
I guess there's not a lot of. It's not like I do the follow because I got a girl, so it's more they're just like it's a compliment and then like a dip
it
or
would be
something.
so crazy to see you with a fade, dude. Like
I mean,
just
because
one
my
day,
my go-to haircut, like, and I had it when I moved here, was like I'd get a 6 on top with a 4 on the side, faded into it, like with the, and then tapered on the back, and that was like my go-to haircut. I'd throw a little gel in it and like
white boy cut.
classic white boy. And I did not like it, but I feel like also with the short hair I look way more like angry. The long hair makes me
it's a much more comedic. I mean, the long hair
I look
works for
approachable
jokes.
and
For
like
sure.
I look so I fuck with it. All right, dude, I want to give you a second to wrap the podcast up, plug your stuff, anything you got going on. The floor is yours.
My Instagram at Christian C Comedy.
Follow
sure
him,
you'll
guys.
Have me tagged and everything.
Yeah, he'll be
anyways,
tagged.
but,
It'll be in the bio. I'll have the link to his Instagram and everything.
outside of that, I'm like the only comic in Austin that does not like run a show or anything like that, which is why I don't get on a lot of shows because people don't. I'll hit people and be like, "Hey, can I be on this show?" And they're like, "Cool, like, can you book me on one of yours?" And I'm like, "I don't have one." And they're like, "Well, then I'm not." They just trade for stage time. Outside of that, dude, just watch McFarlane USA. Like, if there's anything you could do for me, watch that movie. It is the most underrated movie of all time. It's so
dude.
good.
Yeah, guys, check out the movie. Please make sure if you listen this far to give Christian a follow. If you like them, do all that shit. Everything's in the bio. For you guys, thank you so much for listening. Like I said, as you heard at the start of this podcast, if you're a sports fan, please go check out my new sports podcast, Third Inches with Big Laugh.
I'll be on
Comedy.
there one day.
Hell yeah,
You'll have
we'll
me in
definitely
as a
have
correspondent.
You. Exactly. We're going to need some basketball shit eventually. So we'll have you on, dude. It's a good podcast if you guys like sports. It's
great.
For anyone who wants. Go check it out if you like me. I'd love that. But I do want to warn, it's all sports with like we maybe talk movies for like 2 or 3 minutes. But it's mostly sports. It's good, really well produced. I hate to say it, but it's a little bit higher quality than this. So if you like sports, please go give it a look, give it a love. Other than that, guys, thank you for listening. If this is your first time or your 124th, I appreciate you. But most importantly, thank you for letting us be your last resort. See you. Hell
Yeah. Check it out now, it's like this Shaw, it's like that Anna, it's like this Shaw, it's like that Anna, like that. Check it out now, check it out. Hey, yo, this one right here is about a girl, and you've seen this girl before if you've been to any club in the whole wide world. Check it out. Her nickname's Last Resort. See her in the corner with a plastic fork. You see her out the side of your eyes, only girl in the club.
Your Last Resort production.